Hey everybody, Drew here, and you're in my garage. I'm finding it hard to believe how miserable of a job it is to put an oxygen sensor, that is the one closer to the engine, the Upstream, on this 2004 to 2009 Toyota Prius. There is really no reason to try to do it from underneath unless you have a lift. There's not much space for leverage, and even if there is, being flat on your back's really tough. So you're going to want to take out the windshield wiper, the cover, the motor, the assembly, the tray, all that, which is pretty easy. There's three 14-millimeter bolts. You got to pop off this little plastic cap here off of the driver's side wiper right here. It's a 14-millimeter nut, and then two 14-millimeter nuts that hold on the passenger side. They come right off. This plastic tray is underneath it. There is one and then two in the other corner, little plastic clips you got to take off. Then it just kind of snaps out and comes off. It clips the back of it, if you can see here, like that clip. It like clips around the windshield like this, right? So that just comes off. Then underneath, you've got the windshield wiper motor assembly that has four. So it would be, it should be obvious to you, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, excuse me, of these bolts that go through and hold it down. There is this plastic clip that holds the wiring down. You, of course, unplug the harness, take that clip off. Then you've got to take off this guy. This is the fuse relay box, bunch of these little snaps that hold the wiring to the face of the tray, and then two 10-millimeter bolts. That comes right out. And then for the actual tray itself, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I believe, 10-millimeter bolts that hold that in. That guy just pops right out, and then that's where it starts to get miserable. So the oxygen sensor, by the way, that part number, Denso part number, that's 234-9056. This is the people who made it for Toyota. So just like Aeson makes their water pumps, Koyo makes their bearings, Denso makes their oxygen sensors, and buying it in the Denso box, it's the exact same part as Toyota for a lot less money. It comes with, and you know what, listen, guys, I'm just your friendly YouTube guy that tries to show you, easier, less expensive, more effective ways to do things. I'm not an engineer, and I have nothing but respect for the people who engineered, especially this Prius, because it's one of the best cars ever made, the second-gen Prius. But what are you guys thinking? Goodness gracious. There is no oxygen sensor tool I've ever seen that fits in there. So I'm kind of soul-searching right now how I'm going to deal with the new one. The old one, I just mangled it apart. I took... basically, my chisel happens to be a 10-millimeter, so I put it in a 10-millimeter socket with a bunch of extensions, put on my super squints here, and beat the crap out of it with a brass hammer. You never, ever hit hardened steel with another hammer, which is hardened steel. You use brass. That way the chips don't come off at a couple hundred miles per hour and hundreds of degrees and stick in you. So I mangled apart the shield, and then I was going to try to use this guy. There's no way to get a breaker bar in there. I'm using a wobble sight. It sucked. It was awful. So I took a 22-millimeter wrench, made sure it was really on there because, of course, this can round a bolt really easy. I felt like I was going... Oh, by the way, I cut the wire off, too. I took a pair of side cutters and just, the old sensor shot. So just cut the wire right off it to slip this guy on. You could unplug it and slip the end through the 22-millimeter wrench. That does work. The big thing is, and please don't hate me because I didn't realize not all of you have this, but I took my oxyacetylene torch and I heated that up. It literally, the shield, what was left of the shield got yellow hot, and maybe I got the bung that it screwed into about red hot. And then I just, went inside and, dealt with the blood blister and all the other things I've done to myself doing this job. I went inside, chilled for a minute, let that cool down, and then the rest of it will come off. With finger twist after I got on it with the 22-millimeter wrench, right? So that's getting it off. Now here's where the soul searching starts. I don't know what to do here. I'm thinking, this heat shield's obviously on here for a reason, but I'm not just gonna finger tighten this into the bung. I have to do more than that, so I'm probably gonna put a couple of slits in this heat shield, and then use, the proper tool to, to go ahead and put that back on, which again really sucks because that's here for a reason. I don't understand why they couldn't go just another 1/4 of an inch bigger in diameter, so it was actually serviceable. I don't know what they do at Toyota. If you're a Toyota Master Tech and you happen to be watching this, or any Toyota Tech, or if you happen to have a tool that works, put it in the comments. I'd love to know. But I'm fairly confident that even though installation will be easier with the, you know, right tool, removal of the old one, absolutely, you've got to do everything I said so far, including mangle the shield and just get a wrench on it, and you have to heat it. You might be able to get away with a MAP gas torch, but, you know, oxyacetylene, if this is the only job you're ever going to do, these are a lot of money, but it's an amazing tool. Getting things hot is critical. I also have an inductor for bolts like inside engines that I don't want to expose flames to. But anyways, so that's the gist of it. This is not a fun job, guys. I'm a professional. I say that humbly, and I've been working on cars for 20 years. Been working on 3rd gen, 2nd gen, even 4th gen Prius since they've all begun to exist, right? And I'm saying that this isn't a hard job. It's just a miserable one. But if I could do it, you could do it. Hang in there. The only special tool I have is the oxyacetylene torch, which again is worth the investment if you work on cars, because it's getting something hot versus stripping the bolt and drilling it out and all that crap is comes in handy. So. All right, well, that's the only way to do it. That's 6 slits along the side of the heat shield there with a wobbly socket extension in one of those slits into the tool. And I'm going to use a socket wrench, tighten that down, and sadly, there just is no other way. The only other thing I thought of was building like a box-shaped heat shield of my own, but it's not as thick as this, so I'm just going to push everything back together, bend everything back to exactly the way it was before I slid it, and that's going to have to work. I mean, I'm inclined to think that unless the slits are open like they are now, no heat's going to get in there, but this is it's just a really bad design. So anyways, that's a wobbly socket, again, right through one of the slits because it won't happen any other way. It does need to be wobbly to clear the top of the manifold, and then I'm going to just put a socket wrench on the end of it and crank it down. There's a little after photo for you. All cranked down, all pushed back together. Barely or no slits whatsoever, and yeah, that's a job done. I'm Drew. I really hope this video helps you. If it does, give it a thumbs up and share it, and definitely subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of Prius content on here, and the whole channel is just about showing you guys better, more effective ways to do things, skipping unnecessary steps while never sacrificing the quality or the integrity of the job. So if that's something you're into, go ahead and subscribe, turn on notifications, and hey, God bless you guys. Hang in there.